Hello everyone and welcome to another trading session. Today is 19th of March 2024 and I will quickly go through the economic calendar. So we had already today building permits, but then there is nothing else remaining in the economic calendar. Important to note, tomorrow during the PM session we have FOMC news release. So we might see today the market being a little bit choppier, maybe not that good of a price action. Tomorrow, for sure, the AM session for tomorrow will be very bad. I will probably try to avoid it. I will see if I will do any video or not. Maybe I will not even open the charts at all. I will see. But there is to be expected that also today could be a little bit of not the best price action that we can expect. But we will see if we will have any model and if the bias will be also correct. But firstly, let's start with ES and let's start marking things. So on the weekly chart, what I can see, we have traded up on Monday and now we are retracing down. So we will see if that was the high of the week. I'm not sure, but on the weekly chart, we are just coming back to where we opened on Sunday. So here we can see we have traded up and now we open and now trading down. I think we touched, maybe not yet, the open for this week, but we are coming really close to it. So probably there is also a new week opening gap. So we might have traded inside the new week opening gap, but that's something that I will need to review. But so far, just still trading inside this range. So nothing really that easy to spot and thinking where we might draw next, at least on the higher time frame. Going back down to the 4-hour, I just want to see if I have anything. So we have already traded inside the Sellside liquidity that I was marking yesterday. So we have already swept it and now we are trading back. There's a small fair value gap on the 4-hour, but for a 4-hour chart, I think I would need to demand more of a bigger gap to note it. It's not that significant for me. We've also taken out the buy side liquidity, which is good. And we traded inside this 4-hour, took the buy side liquidity, and now we are reaching lower. So maybe we will be looking for lower prices today. I can see there is a 4-hour fair value gap here. Once we swept the buy side liquidity, we traded up and now we are respecting and going down. So we will see if we will still reach for lower prices. We have a 1-hour fair value gap here, which I will note. We have traded to the midpoint and we might respect it and go lower. But there was also a 1-hour fair value gap here, which was traded to and went back up. So for now, I'm not trying to have any strong bias yet. I'm seeing that once we have made this price range, we came back to the 50% and also to the OTE levels. So I will really need to see what kind of side the market will start navigate towards and if I will favor opposite trade or if we will see some continuation or maybe consolidation, because we expect in one day the FOMC news release. We are also trading inside this 15-minute fair value gap. I will note this buy side too from London session, from today's London session, and also this fair value gap. So we have cleared the buy side during London, traded inside this fair value gap. Now we reach lower and took out the London session low from yesterday. And now we came back to the price range, going back close to the 50%, to the equilibrium. So maybe that's what we will see, that it will reach to the equilibrium and maybe we'll continue lower, or maybe it will just reach higher. But As I said, I'm not trying to build any strong bias right now. As this was already a balanced price range, I will delete it. I don't want to have it noted. Also on the 5 minute, we have a fair value gap here, which is almost the same as on the 1 hour. For now, there is nothing that really jumps to my eye that I can easily believe where it goes. I have a little bit of feeling that we might be looking for lower prices, but I just don't want to build that strong bias yet. So let's see what we can expect after 9:30. But that's so far what I can see, that we are just slowly making lower swing highs and just reaching for the sell side liquidity. Now I'm thinking, this was a sell side liquidity that I was targeting on NQ, and I think this was already taken out, right? Yeah, it's these two lows. So I see that NQ went actually much lower than ES. So we see much more of a downwards move on NASDAQ rather than ES. ES is really far from this sell side liquidity. It's like 80 handles. But so for now, we are still in this price range, almost at the middle of this price range. So for now, not really any strong bias where I think the market will go. So I will start with NQ right now. Also, this sell side liquidity was taken out. We've come almost close to the new week opening gap. I will start removing some of these markings. This was taken out. This was a 4-hour fair value gap. This is also the trade from yesterday that I've took. So this was really nice. I'm even glad that I exited before. Right here is actually where my last executed contract was, because we went down just a tiny bit, but we didn't touch the opening range gap, which I had my limit. So I would be off almost 1 or 2 handles and it would go just the opposite direction. So I'm really glad that I did close it manually. But let me start deleting things that are not important anymore, but I think I don't have anything. Okay, so here is a buy side liquidity that I can see. Let me go to the higher time frame first. So very similar price action that we can see as on ES. We have traded up on Monday and now we are retracing lower, going back down again to the midpoint of this down close candle. So now we are trading again around these lows and in this buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. So I'm not sure if we will be still respecting this fair value gap, but we are trading inside this for a really, really long time. And we also closed below these lows, which kind of tells me we want to reach lower. We traded up. We have traded also to this volume imbalance and closed below, and now we are reaching down. So I have a kind of feeling that we really could be reaching for lower prices. On the 4-hour chart, we have here a small fair value gap here, which was respected. We also traded inside this fair value gap and reached lower. So we are coming close also to this low, which is from yesterday. So this is Friday AM session. So we will need to see if we will see any shorts or short opportunities. Let me go to the 1-hour chart. So on the 1 hour, we have here a huge fair value gap. which could be a potential zone where the price or the market will respect this level and will reach down. This is really nice to see as well that how the market reacted to this 4-hour fair value gap, where it traded to the midpoint, closed with the bodies of the candles right there, and went down. So it really tells us that from this point on, we can see we are not going to reach for more buy side liquidity, but rather we'll slowly build to the downside. So this is what I can see on the 1 hour. I'm also looking at this small fair value gap, which we traded to, and we went higher. But let's see if we will respect the CBs instead and we'll reach for lower prices. On the 50-minute, the fair value gap seems to be really similar. I will probably close this opening range. It's not that important to me. We have here like a big BC2. I think on the 1 hour is much bigger. I'm talking about this one from PM session on 21st of February. But the first target will be for sure this sell side liquidity and this low. So how far is this? 60 handles. Okay, so I will mark this low. I'm not looking even yet for any opportunities. I'm just marking things. So this is 1 hour fair value gap. 1 hour fair value gap. By the way, most of the time you can see me that I'm not even. Also, here is a 15-minute fair value gap, which we traded and went immediately lower. You can maybe even notice that I'm not marking any breakers, any order blocks, and stuff like that. To me, those concepts are quite difficult for me to spot or believe they act as order block or breakers. Sometimes the breakers are easy to see once they are created and I see the market is going heavily bearish. So let's say here. So this is a nice bearish breaker. Once we trade it down, we can see that the market here just barely touched it. One inside just a tiny bit as well to the midpoint and then reach lower. So these are easy for me to spot, but a lot of the times, let's say in a price action like this, maybe, I would not be that sure that, let's say, this is a breaker when we trade it up here, right? So it's also something that I'm not pointing out. I'm trying to really just implement fair value gaps, liquidity pools, and maybe some new week opening gaps, new day opening gaps, stuff like that. Speaking of new day opening gaps, do we have anything? There is a small right here, new day opening gap, but it's not that big. So I think it's not that important for me as well. So I'm not going to mention it. On the 5-minute and 15-minute, I'm not seeing anything that pops up. We're also trading inside this almost equilibrium of this price lag. So we might see the market coming back up to the 50%. Or just respecting the 1 hour fair value gap and we'll reach lower. Would I favor more based on these signatures, how market was behaving and respecting these fair value gaps on the higher time frame when it swept the buy side liquidity and went lower. Also here, the breaker, it went lower. During London, we swept the highs over here, traded inside this CB on the 15-minute, went straight lower. Now we are again trading inside this fair value gap, and we really might be looking for lower prices. If I would want to look for short, I think I would need to have some kind of high violated. This one would be the best case, but I think this one can be enough. But if I would see just the market doing these kind of moves, and then it would go down, I'm not sure if I would want to take it. So even today, I might not even take any trade. But let's see how the market behaves. I will now just watch it for a few minutes, see how we open at 9:30, and we will go from there. What I favor, what will happen at 9:30, I think when we open, we might trade up a bit and then go down. That's what I think. Maybe sweeping this high, or maybe just trading inside these inefficiencies and then go lower. I think that would be nice to see the market going down. And that's basically what I think will happen today. So let's just watch for the remaining 5 minutes or 4 minutes how the market will book, and we will build our bias and narrative from there. I really like how the market just traded to the midpoint and now it's going down. We have SMT with ES on these highs. So let's see if we will maybe trade up to this imbalance, or if we just really respect this 1 hour fair value gap and we'll go down. I was even thinking that if I really want to put a short here, but that's not my model, so I will need to let the market go down without me if it goes. But I'm confident it goes down based on how it repriced previously and how we identified it, how it's respecting those fair value gaps, those bearish signatures. On the higher time frame, the NASDAQ was much lower than ES, so I really think that we might be looking for lower prices, but let's see. I'm not sure if I should be looking for longs. Let's say if we get the sweep of this sell side and we have SMT with ES on the lows, I'm not sure if I should be looking for longs for this day. It really nicely respected the 50% of this fair value gap. If someone would enter, as I was saying, from the midpoint, there will be almost no drawdown, and immediately almost 50 handles profit in 1 minute. That's insane. Oh, sorry, I'm on the 5 minute. So here, first profit taking, second one here, maybe most of the position here, and then rather maybe here, in case we will see it go down that fast. But we have swept this low where ES was not able to. We haven't come back down to this low, and now we have immediate reaction going to the upside. The candle from 9:30 is this one. Sorry, this one. So here's the opening range. We have just slightly traded up inside the opening range. We have traded down, and now we are trading again higher. There might be a busy, a fair value gap It's already created. I'm not sure if I want to take it. But I'm thinking that I can try it if there is a SMT with ES. We'll need the market to go a bit lower. I think it will run without me. I was too hesitant. It came back down, but I think it's not that good to try it now. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, still not that bad. But I'm still favoring the short, so I'm probably not going to do that. But I might have a CB actually. CB over here. But we haven't swept anything that's significant. So I'm not sure if I should be even trying to go for that trade. I'll probably just avoid it. I will see. I will see how the market will start repricing. But it's not even showing that it wants to go higher. I had no option to even short it. Actually, here was a small fair value gap. But as we went down so much, we took out this low. And as it started to navigate higher, I would not want to position myself in this fair value gap, as this was already 20 handles. We took out the low and we went back more than 10, so I would get stopped out, and it's a not good trade for me. So far, I'm not seeing anything that good to take. There is a small CB here, also on the 1 minute. I'm not sure if I should be trying this one. ES is also slowly building down. We have taken out another low here. And we might be just reaching for the sell side liquidity. So he has also taken out this low. Not yet this one. Not yet this one. But as we are so close to the sell side liquidity, I'm not trying to do anything yet. I'm thinking if I really should have taken a long here. Looking at the 30-second chart, the entry would be, I just want to quickly check it. 124.5, 124.5, and the maximum where it went up was 15175. Oh, basically this high. So it delivered 27 handles. So if I would want to take this trade, I would need to take out at 20 most of it, and probably I would target everything on this high. But as you can see, we didn't get it. So that would be not that good that I wouldn't even have most of my position off, and as I was favoring the shorts, I didn't want to take it. I could have something like a profitable trade, but I would not get much from it, and I think it wouldn't be that correct to take it. If I would take any short from here, that maybe once we touched again the 50% of this 4-hour fair value gap, this is 1 hour, I think. This is 1 hour. So as we touched again the 1 hour fair value gap midpoint, that's when I could have entered again, but I would probably demand this high to be swept. But I said that we have SMT over here. We have SMT with ES on these highs. So this is something that could indicate that the NQ will not reach much higher, will not probably sweep any buy side liquidity. And on the higher time frame, as I was saying, it was showing much more downwards movement. It might go there really fast. So we have already traded to the sell side liquidity almost 70 handles. Reprice the new week opening gap. So we have now touched the open of the week. And let's see what we can expect now from the market, because ES is not that low at all. ES just barely swept the low from this time at 909. It just barely did it. So I'm thinking if I want to go long, if I have such a SMT with ES on these lows, whereas it really doesn't show that it wants to go down so much. And if on NQ we had the major sell side liquidity swept, we have traded inside the new week opening gap as well. If I will start seeing some bullish price move, I will try to decide if I really want to take it or not. Maybe if I get also on the lows somewhere SMT with ES. I'm not really seeing it yet. I mean, now we have on these lows SMT with ES. But I would really need to have some kind of displacement to the upside to really believe that we are going the opposite direction. But I'm still favoring that today we might see a lot of price move to the downside. I'm not that confident. But we also gapped down. Didn't even trade it that much to the opening range. Is the 50%. There is also 25%. Which is also the high of this 1 hour fair value gap. So now we have even more of a SMT, but I think the market is just going down towards this sell side liquidity now from Friday. This is 12:45. I might not be able to take any trade today. And if we will have such a displacement from 9:30, let's say this will be swept at 10. I'm not sure if I can be confident to require opposite direction trade and still have like a higher reward. We still have SMT on the lows here with ES. Still watching it. ES is now having kind of a nice movement to the upside. We now made the displacement candle on the 30-second chart from 6.5. Okay, it was rebalanced, so there is nothing. No model. Even though I would like to take the long, if I don't have the model, I don't want to take it. Still with my bias thinking that we might be looking for lower prices, I would take the long only if the setup really gives me a lot of confidence in terms of what I can see the market doing. If I have SMT, if I have major sell side liquidity swept, if I see one market being more bullish rather than the other one, and I've seen many times NQ looking for a liquidity pool first before going in certain directions. So it would give me confidence that I can look for long, but I just got the fair value gap rebalanced, so I was not able to go long here, even though it might start going higher from here. It doesn't look that bad. We can see that on ES, we have swept this high from 941. We have traded back again to the 1 hour fair value gap on ES. So let's see how the market will react here. But the NQ is much, much lower. So this was the high on ES, which has been swept. Now it's starting to slow down around the new week opening gap. But I'm not even able to position myself in a short, even if I would like to. I had no opportunity to go short. I see a small fair value gap, CB, over here on the 30-second chart, where you could potentially go short if you want to catch a continuation trade also inside this new week opening gap. But that's not something that I want to do. Once the major sell-side liquidity pool was taken out, I would not want to position myself after in another sell-side liquidity run. I would actually rather look for longs here. Even though I might be looking for a bearish day, I would still rather look for longs where it still has a lot of room where it can go, rather than look for shorts where there was already a lot of done. So I'm looking at the market. Oops. 6. So there is a possibility to go long here. So I might take it. So I'm putting my limit here. I'm just putting the TP over here. For sure, I will not get it. So we have SMT on the lows, basically with these ones on ES. So this gives me a confidence we might be looking for higher prices. We have taken out major sell-side liquidity pool and traded inside the new week opening gap. And still we are in a quite a range on the daily chart. So it's not really that easy to say if we are going really bearish or not. I see that I'm filled. So I don't want to really hold strongly my bias to any direction. I'm just trying to go from what I can see the market doing. So we have a lot of inefficiencies over here where we can target for exits. I will start measuring where I can maybe get my first partials. I'm thinking 20 handles could be a good start. Then reach for this one. I'm not sure if this one is maybe too far. For now, I will not put any take profits yet. I will just see how the market reprices. But so far looking good. It came back again to the midpoint of the new week opening gap. But let's see, because we traded inside this CB, traded up and taken out this high, respected the 50% of the gap. So it can easily go down from here. It still looks fine, in my opinion. If I get stopped out, I will probably... I'm not sure if I will close the charts or if I will resume reviewing the market. But for sure, I want to put only this one trade and nothing else. Because tomorrow is FOMC, and I'm worried about the market conditions. As we have already a huge price range right here, it can consolidate easily. So maybe I will try to reach for only like a small reward. So maybe like 30 handles. 9875. I will try to probably just reach for a small target. And let's see if we can get that. We have traded inside the first one. Hopefully it will reach to the higher one. And we can get our full position closed. I'm thinking to put my stop loss to break even. Or maybe to even exit the position right now. 25 handles. I think we should get that. That's really close. Okay. Okay, good. So we have ended the day on a positive. We were able to get something from the market. So I'm really glad that we had that opportunity. So with this trade, I just striked for a small reward. So I've made 294 USD, which is really good. So this was really nice. A quick trade as well. I was quite confident in taking it based on how the market repriced. So let me show again my execution. So 6875. 6875. Also small drawdown. Really good. Not to stress much about it. And was most of the time in my profits. And my exit was 9875. We can easily see the market going up to the opening range and maybe taking out these highs with no problem. But still, I'm thinking that we might be looking for lower prices on the higher time frame. That's at least what I can see if we check how it really respected the 1 hour fair value gap, the midpoint, and went straight down. I think we might be even looking for this sell side liquidity during this day or maybe tomorrow on the FOMC release. But I'm not really that confident seeing the market coming back up here. I don't think we will see NASDAQ coming up back here. I think the trade that I took is just a retracement from this price range. Let me also mark. So we almost came back to the 50% of this price lag. So maybe we will see the market going maybe a more deeper inside this fair value gap, and then it would go down. But at least on this kind of scenario where we had SMTs, liquidity pool swept, new week opening gap implemented for the trade idea, I'm really happy how I executed the trade when I saw the opportunity. I think there is nothing wrong, even though I went against the bias. I didn't even try to strike for like big trades to exit here or these highs. I'm glad that I tried to take only 30 handles. It was nicely delivered in, let me measure that, that was 3 to 4 minutes. Really good. I'm really satisfied. So as I already made a trade, I'm not sure if I will keep reviewing the market. Probably I can. Because I made such a profit, I am not really thinking to enter another trade at all. I will not take anything else. This is much more that I would like. A lot of the times from the previous weeks, if you watched my videos, I've made like sometimes 80, sometimes 200. So this is still quite a lot of handles and amount with a small leverage as well. So again, I'm really satisfied with today. And I will probably just resume reviewing the market if really we would see this price move as a judo swing, and now it will really just reach higher for these highs. If we will see that in the market, then I'm closing it for sure, because that's really a lot. That's like almost 100 handles. And I would be able to capitalize on that if this would be any other day or maybe week where we would not have FOMC still to be released for that week. I would try to keep holding the trade. But due to the fact that we are expecting such a high volatile news releases, I don't want to strike for high trades, because the market can be really slow, choppy. There can be a lot of manipulation, and I just would not like that. So we are seeing that, as I was saying, that we can probably expect the market coming back to this fair value gap a little bit more. So now we had traded to the midpoint of this price range, to the 50%. And we could maybe really see the market going down from this point on. So realistically, really, let's see where the market will be heading. If it goes again for this low, I'm also closing it, because that not only invalidates the market going up, and also any potential scaling that I could have done, and probably we will just see the market going down, and I would not probably be able to even take any shorts in this, because for my model and my rules, I would need to have like a highs like this being swept to be able to look for a short. I was looking for a long just because the major sell side liquidity was taken out. It's not like a high like this, sorry, a low like this. It's just a low that has been formed and then taken out, and then looking for the opposite direction. That's basically how I trade for now. I'm not sure if I will adapt anything else going forward. For now, it seems this really works for me. It's kind of easy to spot, easy to analyze, easy to understand. So I'm going to stick with this for some time. And let's see if there will be profitability with this performance strategy. And if there will be anything to change, let's see if I can do that as well. I see the market trading in a 30-second fair value gap right now. After we taking out this high, traded inside this 1 minute fair value gap, we are trading now in a 30-second fair value gap right here. But if I would be still in a trade, I'm still in long, so until probably this low is violated, I would be still awaiting the market going higher. So if I would have something scaled out, I'll probably just move my stop loss to this low. Let me just remove the sell side liquidity. So on this low, I would have my stop loss probably trailed, and would just wait for the market going higher again. But let's see if this is the point where the market will seek lower prices actually. And this could be used. Also this 1 minute fair value gap, as we saw the candles closed below it, not even around the 50% but below, which is quite a nice signature that we might respect the CB. Traded back to the 50% of the price lag right here. So let's see how the market will react from this point on. Realistically, if I'm still in the trade, it's not good that I removed it. Was it 6875? Yes, 6875. So realistically, my next scaling would be around 40 handles. I'm not sure if I would put it at the end of this gap. Probably the very first one was here for sure. This was my first one, so I would need to strike for at least 40 or this gap right here. So either 10 handles more or this fair value gap right here. So let's see if we would get that. And this would be, in my opinion, let's say if I had 10 micros, 80% would need to be taken out here. Or maybe my full position. But as I said, this is prior FOMC tomorrow. I just don't want to strike for big trades, and this was pretty much enough for me. And if this was not even the correct direction for the day, I'm glad that I was still able to take out something from the market. So I'll give it a few more minutes. Let's see how the market will reprice. If we were able to identify a really good opportunity for even much more of a profit target. So let's just review it. And if not, at least we will have some recording and seeing what I could have done better and how could I maybe identify and anticipate the short from this point. As we are also in the middle of the price range, I'm thinking that we are at the time where we can scout for silver bullets, but I'm not really that confident even thinking what kind of silver bullet I would like to take. If it starts to go really strongly higher, I see here is a small 1 minute fair value gap, but that's so high. After this high was already taken out, I wouldn't be confident in taking long from here. Realistically, for silver bullet, there is nothing you could use. So if I would be still in the trade and I could take out still something off, this is one of the potential targets or area where I could have done that. And we can see the market going up into this fair value gap. So this is nice to see that I was really in a good position, in a good trade with almost no drawdown at all. So I'm really happy for this trade idea that we still were able to get that model. Even though we saw the market drop down really heavily, around almost 100 handles, we're still able to identify a good opportunity to get like another trade the opposite direction. So probably we might even see those highs being taken out. How I see the market still just reaching higher and higher and higher. But I'm still really happy that I took something off. I have nice profits in my opinion. The most that I have made was 400 for the last 2 weeks. And today I have made almost 300. So it's still a huge returns for me just because I'm trading almost every day. I think that's a really nice profit. So I'm not like worried or not happy that I was not able to hold it. I'm actually happy that how I managed the trade. And I'm still aware of the circumstances of the news releases that we have. And it's much better to be safe, much better to strike for less if you know the risk in the market. So yeah, I'm really satisfied with today. Really good performance, in my opinion, really good execution, really good trade management. So I think this was a really, really good trading session. So I still see the market just going higher and higher. For me, this is just seeing how far it could reach in case I would be still in a trade. So this would be most of my position off at 50 handles. and some runner probably to this point on. So I'll just let it go. If it goes here, I will end the recording here. And probably if it goes, I'm not sure what kind of point I would believe the market would start violating those bullish signatures. I think once it will start trading somewhere around here, this point, because it might respect this fair value gap. This is also a breaker, a bearish breaker. So we have traded inside this fair value gap as well. Inside is also, this should be considered a mitigation block. So we can easily see lower prices from this point too. So let's see. I will still give it a few more minutes just to taper it and see what the market does. In my opinion, if I would be in a trade, I would probably aggressively trail my stop loss to the low of this candle. So if this invalidates the price move of this candle, the candle open, I think I will just end the session here. I'm also interested to see if this 1 minute CB fair value gap, if this will send the market lower, that this was maybe a silver bullet trade. But as I mentioned, if the market is really bullish, I was even mentioning this small fair value gap. But I would not be really that confident in taking long here, just because the fair value gap was formed after these highs were taken, and it traded also inside this fair value gap. So these are like points where you can exit something off, and taking a trade afterwards, I think, is not good. So I would rather try to look for the opposite direction in case it's not going to respect those bullish signatures. So I would rather try to take a short here for a silver bullet trade at least. I think this one makes more sense rather than this fair value gap. Just because this was traded to, and we have taken out these highs afterwards. So we are now coming back down to this CB. I'm not sure if this will now act as an inversion fair value gap. But if it goes down, I think that's enough for me to say that we will probably just look for lower prices here. But it closed above the midpoint. It still haven't realistically violated the low of the candle. I think it just traded to the same low. So I'm still reviewing the price action. So the trade idea that I have taken will be violated once it trades like here, below basically the gap, and that we can see right now. So if I would be in a trade and I would still try to hold something, I would have trailed my stop loss here for sure, and then I would get stopped out here. So let's see if the market really starts going down here. I think it can, just because how it starts to respect those bearish signatures, like this breaker on the 1 minute chart. We've traded to the midpoint, really nice to see. We have traded inside this CB as well, in this mitigation block. We have traded back to the 50% of this price range. We have created a displacement, traded and respected the midpoint of this 1 minute fair value gap. And we might be looking for lower prices. But I'm glad that I was able to position myself in a trade much earlier, and I was in basically a really easy price move, and I would be more confident in being in this kind of trade rather than this one, because this one didn't really sweep any significant liquidity pool. So that's also something that it's difficult for me to identify when the high or low is formed and we can see market going the opposite direction. So that's why I always require some form of really like a swing low or a swing high. That's when I can scout for the opposite directional trade. So that's it for today. When it comes to the trading session, we have ended positive today with 294 USD with one trade. So I'm really happy. I didn't try to strike for a lot, even though it gave us the opportunity to get higher reward, but I was satisfied with enough. So I will just close the charts here. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. And I'm not sure if I will see you tomorrow, just because I mentioned there is FOMC news release on the PM, in the PM session. So I expect the market to be really slow, not that much volatility. And even though I could have potentially have a model, I don't really want to try to push it. So I might avoid trading tomorrow. I will see. But I will try to decide tomorrow. Maybe I will just tape read, but I will for sure probably not want to trade. So thank you again very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next trading session.